Hello and welcome to the Homemade Songwriter. I'm Matt, and today we're going to continue our series on song sections where we look at the individual parts of a song, what they are, and how best to write them. And in today's video, we're going to talk about verse 2. Verse 2. Everybody is scared of verse 2, including me. Verse 2 can be really daunting, but it doesn't have to be. See, what I think is hard about verse 2 is that we've overcome all these mental obstacles to get verse 1 down, to go from a blank page to a verse, and maybe even a verse and a chorus. And then we think, man, that was exhausting. And to try to do that again sounds overwhelming. Or another trap that we fall into, by the time we've written verse 1 and a chorus, we've told the whole story, and there's nothing else to really say. But at the end of the day, writing a verse 2 is very similar to writing a verse 1, except now you don't have to go through all the headache of finding your limitations, finding what your song going to be about, because you've already accomplished that in verse 1. You have the story, you have the main characters, you have the idea, you maybe even have a chorus. You already are limited by what chords you can use because you've already written a verse, and now this is the second verse. So you know what chords you're going to use, you know a strumming pattern, and you know the vocal melody. Usually verse 1 and verse 2 may have slight variations, but in general, the basic theme of the vocal melody is already in place. So you don't need a random word generator. You don't need to roll a die to see what chords you can use. All those limitations are in place. Now you're just free to create and continue telling the story. And that's exactly what verse 2 should accomplish. It should continue to tell the story. It should take those initial brushstrokes of verse 1 in the chorus and add some detail, add some definition, and maybe even expand it a little bit. Maybe you could look at what you said in verse 1 and retell it or say it from a different perspective. Or utilize repetition and steal one or more of the lines of verse 1 and repeat them in verse 2. Some helpful things to keep in mind when you're writing verse 2 is that you're still going to transition back to a chorus, more than likely. So make sure you're thinking about, as I'm continuing this story, how does this feed back into the chorus? Which the chorus, usually the words aren't going to change. So depending on how you're writing a song, that may take some mental gymnastics to make sure that works. But the end goal is that you're transitioning from the chorus to verse 2 back to another chorus. So make sure there's a logic stream that flows through verse 2 back to the chorus. But the main takeaway I want for you from this video is that you don't need to be afraid of verse 2, because it's scary for the opposite reasons that verse 1 was scary. Verse 1 was scary because there's nothing on the page, but now verse 2 is scary because there's things on the page. So let's say you write the best verse 1 and the best chorus of your life, then you write verse 2 and you hate it. Okay? Try again. Write another one. As songwriters, we can get stuck in the mindset of once I've put pen to paper, it's like I've chipped it into concrete, and that's not true. You can write a verse, not like it, scratch it out. Start again. I hope that gives you some helpful things to think about when you're writing your next verse 2. If you want some additional resources, we've got a chord progression cheat sheet and 30 songwriting prompts to jumpstart your creativity for free in the description. And if you have any tips for how to write a verse 2, please drop those in the comments. Other than that, that's it for this video. Keep writing, and we'll see you in the next one.